What up? I'm at work. I work part-time at an infrared sauna studio, and I was like, it's kind of slow. I'm back here folding towels. You know what? I might as well talk. I might as well just go off the rip and just talk. And today, I wanted to talk about, while I'm folding my towels, I wanted to talk about, and honestly, I don't even have my mic. You might hear jazz music playing in the background, but it's cool. I know a lot of my audience is, and the lighting's bad in this, but I don't really care. Hopefully you can hear me. I wanted to talk about, despite the fact that it seems like my audience is pretty much like probably around my age and more. It seems like it's 25 to 45. I'm 27. But I started this channel really based on my experience and the transformation that I made, specifically when I started around when I was like 18 or 19. And I see a lot of kids today, and I say kids, they're 18 years old, so you guys aren't kids, and this also applies to, 20, 21, 22-year-olds, really anyone in that age range, because when I was that age, I guess I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I thought that I needed to know what I wanted to do. And I feel like we hear a lot of people say, I ended up doing something completely different than what I did or what I thought I was going to do when I was going to college, when I was near the end of high school. And I could say the same exact thing. I thought I was going to go into finance, go into financial advising. And like I talked about a few videos ago, I basically kind of summarized my story. I didn't want to do that. At my core, at a soul level, my heart did not want to do that. My ego and my security part of me, the part of me that, wants to fit in, seeks security, seeks survival, right? I really just wanted to make money, and that's the only reason why I wanted to get into finance. Little did I know, yes, I think I am interested in business, but I don't give two shits about financial advising. I'm sorry, I don't. And so when I was in college studying finance, of course, over the years, it really became apparent to me that there's something else for me out there, right? But during that time, I started this complete overhaul of myself. Basically, it was a deep dive into the depths of myself, right? So I started this complete process of, first of all, I had a few epiphanies. One was that, and this was when I was 18, I think I was like 19-ish. I realized that one thing I had was a lot of time. And although I didn't have much life experience, I realized that every single decision that I made, every habit that I installed, was going to produce a much larger result than maybe someone who's my age now trying to do the same thing. And I don't really know why that is. But it's like the decisions you make when you're that age are magnified, and they will send a much larger ripple into the future, as opposed to, and I think it's because at that age, you're very neuroplastic. You're very able to change your mental programming. You're able to get in there, and you're really able to break a lot of your old conditioning because your brain's still relatively fresh. And so, I coach high school athletes. I coach volleyball, and I want to figure out some kind of way to start low-key teaching them how to rewire themselves. I see, kids are struggling with, some of the same stuff that I did. Anxiety, a lot of kids, and I've met some really, really good kids, but, the majority of them can't really have a conversation. I see a lot of low self-esteem. I don't want to be that person that demonizes having a phone. Like, I'm recording on a phone right now. I think it's powerful if we're using it to our benefit. But if we get caught up in it, obviously it could lead to a skewed self-image, could lead to, depression and comparing ourselves to other people and not really knowing what real life is, getting things just confused. But I hit such a low point when I was deciding to make this huge shift that I wanted to just kind of abolish everything. I wanted to get rid of everything. I saw my habits and I saw how my decisions were not leading me to the future that I wanted. I feel like when we're that age, we still have these very big goals because we haven't really gotten a full taste of life, still living at home, still in our hometown, still kind of shielded by school and all that. So we still have very big aspirations. We haven't had time to get beaten down by life and let go of those aspirations. Like, reality hasn't really slapped us in the face. And so I had big visions. I had big dreams, and I was learning a lot about manifesting and was writing down my goals a lot, was writing down my dreams a lot. And I think it's really good to get clear on some stuff, even though you might not have a complete crystal clear direction of where you want to go. Have some kind of overarching, desired life that you may want at that age. Have some kind of idea, because the more you start writing that down, the more you start getting excited about that. And then you look at your life and you're like, well, the decisions that I'm making right now, the actions that I'm taking are not going to transpire into the life that I desire. So the earlier you can start making those shifts, it's really about shifting your habits, right? The earlier you can break your old habits and start to realizing that you are creating a reality with every single decision that you make. Literally every decision that you make. You are creating a new timeline for yourself, right? And during that time too, I started really thinking about what kind of person do I need to become if I want to achieve my goals? It's like little things for me. Like, I needed to get better at speaking and presenting. I needed to become, more of a leader. I needed to actually trust myself enough to show my full self to the world. I needed to find some way to cope with anxiety and stress, because if you have big goals, you're going to be met with stressful situations. You're going to be met with the unknown. You're going to be met with things that push you out of your comfort zone. And so meditation for me was absolutely huge. It basically taught me how to transcend my negative self-talk. It taught me how to center myself in the present moment, and it taught me how to cope with my fears, to act in spite of fear. And really, it just taught me how to control my freaking mind. Because I think once we gain control over ourselves, and we can start to respond to our impulses how we want and not be a victim to our impulses. So let's say you have a craving for McDonald's, right? And this was huge because I used to, indulge a lot in McDonald's when I was unhealthy and overweight, and indulge a lot in Sheetz If you're familiar on the East Coast with Sheetz, I was a frequent traveler, a frequent flyer of Sheetz. And I remember I'd be like driving home from the gym or something, and I would notice all of these fast food places. They would just stand out to me because when I was trying to avoid eating like shit, you know, the urge would come up even more. But meditation taught me to feel that initial reaction of the craving, right? And then kind of create some separation between that initial impulse and then my reaction to it. So basically gaining autonomy over the decision. So basically creating space, allowing me to be free from my impulses and not be a slave to my impulses. And that's just one little example. You know, it's like if you're younger and you're scared to like talk to women or whatever, you feel a fear come up, right? When you think you should approach a woman or you think you're talking to a girl, but you feel that fear come up and then you do it anyway. You have full control over your decision, over your reaction, and your impulses are no longer controlling you. That's like, if you can learn how to do that, you can basically create any reality that you want because you have learned how to control your mind. And I know kids that are just getting out of high school are not really thinking about that, but if you really want to do something, if you want to do anything, if you want to be successful at anything, I feel like you got to gain control over yourself. And it's time to I think it's really time to take a big look at the things that are blocking you. So I talk a lot about trauma healing on my channel. Your traumas, if you look back at your childhood, you're going to notice certain instances that for some reason they stuck with you. They created such a strong emotional reaction that they stuck with you and they became a part of you. And it's like a limitation, this bug in your system that's been just screwing shit up for years. On one comment someone could have made to you about like your appearance, about your voice, about, you know, your weight, whatever, and you let that comment dictate your entire life. There was a very important point where I was examining all of the shit that I picked up from the past and how it was controlling me in the present. You know, things like parents getting divorced, things like, you know, maybe really tough family situations that have just sunk so deep into your subconscious, and now you're running on that program. It's coloring how you see life. It's affecting your perception of life. But you don't realize that on a conscious level until you really dig deep and you transfer your focus from everything going outside to what's going on in your internal world. I think the earlier that you can do that, if you make that focus shift, the better. And so there was another epiphany I had. There was a point where I just realized all of these limiting beliefs that I have, like, I don't actually have to believe them. I can actually believe anything that I want, and I can mold my beliefs to empower me instead of to make me a victim like they were. I was a victim to the limitations that I was creating in my head. I really think that anything is freaking possible. It's just like we have these blockages that are keeping us, and that's kind of what I talk about in this channel because I'm working through it myself. We have these blockages that are keeping us, holding us down into a smaller version of ourselves. And so you're gonna have to do it sooner or later in your life. The earlier you can take inventory of what those blockages are, maybe it's just crippling anxiety. Maybe you have to examine why that anxiety is coming up, examine or try to pinpoint an exact event that anxiety spurred from. Maybe you just have to really start observing yourself and observe what triggers that anxiety. You know, depression, I talk about a lot. Shit, maybe school isn't for you. Like, I don't want to, again, be the one to be against the school system. I think there's great teachers. I think, I've learned so much in my schooling, my elementary, secondary, my post-secondary education. Like, I'm all thankful for them. But I think the system is kind of set up to put you in a box. And I think a lot of kids, are not meant to be in that box. We got a lot of creative minds that are being put in that box. And just don't conform to it. Don't be disrespectful to it. I don't think you should shit on it, but just don't conform to it. Still be yourself. And I think that leads me to another point, is that you can learn from absolutely anything and anyone. When we're that age, I feel like our confidence is super high. We think we know so much. In reality, we don't. We only know a small snippet of life. But if you adopt this mindset, it's a growth mindset, that you can learn from anything and everyone, and in any situation you can get better. No matter how shitty, no matter how difficult, no matter how painful the situation is. And that's what alchemy is, right? You're transmuting a seemingly negative experience into a benefit for yourself. And really, nothing can touch you, and only everything can benefit from you if you adopt that mindset. I was learning so much about the subconscious mind. Just learn about yourself, learn about the body, learn about the mind. If I were to go back, I would get more into physics. I would probably get into engineering. I just want to learn more about how the world works. If anything interests you, if you have any kind of urge to do anything, maybe you want to start playing piano, making music, do it. Even if you spend a little bit of time doing it. Not chase, that's not the right word. Pursue is not the right word, because it implies that it's running away from you. Go for something that you think you might want to do. And over 4 or 5 years or whatever time, you doing that thing consistently, semi-consistently, whatever, you're going to start to master that thing, and then you can turn it into something crazy, right? But I think a lot of us, right, with the TikTok, the quick dopamine, we think that things are going to happen fast, and I think they can happen faster in this world, the technology world that we're living in right now. But people that are successful, they have showed up consistently for multiple years, and then they become a master at something. So decide what you want to commit. What do you want to commit your time to? What do you actually want to do? I feel like any kid right now has the best opportunity ever to create any life that you desire. I feel like it's the best opportunity to do that right now. And the final lesson that I learned is that how you treat others, and I've met some really nice kids. I've met some really, self-aware kids and respectable kids. But just remember that how you treat other people, it's going to come back to you. Life is only a reflection of how you feel about yourself. So working on your self-confidence, I think, in a healthy way is very beneficial. The earlier you can do that, working on building a healthy self-image. But you got to remember that people are only responding to you depending on how you treat them or how you respond to them. And this isn't meant to sound cocky, but I feel like I have an ability to connect with anyone, to listen to anyone, to make other people feel like they are heard and they are respected. If you develop that skill, and it's not, I really just genuinely am interested in people and care about people, and I just treat everyone how I want to be treated. And some people, they might be like, oh, I hated that person, right? And then I experience them, and my experience with that person is positive. They're cool, we're cool. And it's because they are people are responding to you. If you are a dick to people, they're going to respond with the same energy. And that's just how life works in general, right? It's always responding to you how you are internally. And people are just projecting their insecurities and their fears and their shortcomings onto you. Like nothing is personal, right? And so that's my little talk for today. I think I'm done folding the towels here, but if you're 18, 19, 20, do not waste these years. Yeah, go party, go have your fun, right? But if you really want to do something, that is the most transformative time that you can start to dig into your habits, dig into your programming, start to rewire yourself, recalibrate yourself. Look into the subconscious mind, look into rewiring your brain. Like, now's the time to install the patterns within you that are going to get you to where you want to be. Like, it's time to bridge the gap between those big dreams that you have and who you are right now. It's time to bridge that gap, right? So, hope it helped. I don't know if my audience is gonna like this or not, because hopefully we just get some younger people in here, because I think they need to hear the message too. So let me know what you think. Peace.